I was born ready.
Something like that.
What's up, everybody?
What's going on?
Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Tucker and the Beard.
As I'm doing it, I'm like silencing and darkening my
Silence
phone.
and darken your electronic devices, except for the one that you're, watching this on. Don't.
Yes. We will silence.
We will.
Yeah.
You don't. We will.
Silence everything around you and just
Yeah.
watch this.
Just take the next 30 to 45 minutes and turn the world off.
I don't have my prop today.
Listen to our dulcet tones.
I've got so much room for activities right
You
now.
do. I know. I've got like my cup of tea, my water bottle.
And I like to have it
My
sometimes
whiskey.
when, if I want to look up something that we're talking about so I don't speak bad information, because that's what the world is. People spreading bad information.
Basically, the entire
Here's
world
the
is fake
jar.
news.
Yes.
The entire world is fake news.
Don't believe anything.
All your heroes are actually villains.
Whoa.
I mean,
That's some deep thought for the rest of the day.
Tom Hanks has been implicated in some pretty awful stuff and then moved his citizenship this week.
Did he really?
He's officially a citizen of Greece now.
Wow. Look at
Yeah.
him. Still
Take
a fan.
from that what you will.
Still a fan.
Listen,
I need
I'm
him-
really trying to do the whole American thing where people are truly innocent until they are proven guilty,
Yeah.
except for like Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah. Except for... And everybody in that circle.
Well, that's the thing, though, is Tom Hanks has been implicated in that circle.
Oh, is that what?
Yeah.
I didn't hear that.
And so it's really difficult. So I'm like, okay, I can either wait until all of them are proven innocent or guilty, or I have to go that none of them are innocent until proven guilty. And so I'm trying not to be that kind of a hypocrite.
You know what they need to do is like when in the 80s, and just because I've watched enough documentaries, I haven't watched the new one. I've been waiting for the mob. Was it Fear City?
Dude, I watched the first episode last night, and it is good.
The funny part is I had started it and got then the next little bit and had a kid walk in the room.
Nope.
And, yeah,
Nope.
I was like, I couldn't stop it
Nope.
fast enough because it's not.
No,
language goes
no.
downhill real quick.
Like
In the beginning,
in the first 5 seconds.
Yeah, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And that's when it happened. Because, when you click on something on Netflix and it starts playing it,
Oh yeah.
that's what had happened. And
Yeah.
I just was walking
Like
from
the way
other
that
room.
it's like, so movies like Goodfellas and Casino, and they're often heavily criticized for the language that's used in them,
But it's accurate.
but that's just accuracy.
Yeah. But no,
Like
they need
these
to,
guys talk that way.
Yeah. But as far as because in the 80s, they did a huge bust.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
the courtroom was filled with all the Mafia knights.
Yeah.
The mobsters, and they sentenced all of them.
Well, yeah,
At
this is
one-
kind of the beginning
This
of
needs to
the
be
RICO
that.
statutes
Right.
and all of that, which is just deeply fast. I love anything to do with the mafia.
Yeah,
like
so do I.
it's very interesting.
My
to
wife hates it when something comes on because I'm in.
me. Yeah.
Like I've gone to another just blank stare, just I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
And I've, to quote Michael Scott, found some things on YouTube and wasted a lot of time.
A lot of time.
in the YouTubes.
Yeah.
No,
I fell
because
down.
it's really fast.
I fell down a weird rabbit hole over the last week on YouTube, and I need to force myself to watch anything other than what YouTube recommends to me right now,
Okay.
because I fell down this weird rabbit hole of there was a channel where like they just make giant versions of like fast food items. Like they
Okay.
made a giant chicken nugget and a giant onion ring, and and I watched like a bunch of those episodes over the last week, and now it's all that YouTube thinks I want to watch, and so I gotta get out of it. So my entire YouTube algorithm is giant fast food, building projects, like how to build a jungle gym,
Yeah.
and clips from the Joe Rogan Experience.
I was like,
Like that's my entire recommendation feed.
I think I've broken YouTube right now because it's so confused. but mine's essentially the same. This should be like a new segment. Like, what does your YouTube suggestions look like right now? Because mine's Hamilton stuff.
Okay.
And then it's camera stuff. Video camera. I think there's some Disneyland thrown in there because I went down to Club 33.
Okay.
Wormhole, rabbit hole thing wormhole. That's what kind of day I'm having. That's what I'm going to start calling it now. Yeah.
So here's the first few things on my YouTube recommendations.
This is going to be good.
And one of them is from the channel that they make the giant stuff, but it's one of them eats 10,000 calories in a day and the other one only eats 1,000 calories in a day.
Okay.
Another is a review on the new Sony a7 III.
Okay.
Versus the Canon R5. One of them is a clips from the show Ink Master about canvases who quit in the middle of their tattoo.
Oh, fun. Okay.
Joe Rogan and Anthony Jeselnik talking about Jerry Seinfeld.
Nice.
And
is that your top 5?
Yeah, that's it. Oh, so and giant Fruit Loop donuts.
Okay, so here's my top 5. A review of the new Sony A7S III. It's finally here, and it's insane. That's the title.
Okay.
Second one is Wrestling. The Rock invented the people's elbow to make the Undertaker laugh.
Okay.
It's just started playing that. Next one is something from the Karate Kid because I had sent. Did you watch that video I sent you, by the way?
Yeah. So
that is one of
not to break off of this. So
that
show was released originally as only
on YouTube.
Available to YouTube Premium, whereas it was called original YouTube Red subscribers.
Right. So now it's coming
it's coming to Netflix like on Saturday.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna watch that.
Cobra Kai.
I've never watched an episode of that show for that reason.
Yeah.
But you and I have talked about this bit that they do. And I'm hoping by watching it that it's not gonna ruin it. But it is the fact that Johnny doesn't know how to use computers or in this clip that I sent you the other day, it was the fact that he's just like, I can't find the internet. Which was just one of the funniest things to me of just being like somebody trying to find the internet.
Right.
Whatever. And then it's like, hey, did you get onto the Wi-Fi? What's Wi-Fi? It's just
Wi-Fi?
Just a funny little joke. Hamilton and more camera stuff. Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I've been.
Yeah,
that's what I've been into, and because I'm gonna build my kids a fort.
Nice.
I decided this. We had an old like play set in the backyard, and it was time to be retired. Yeah. It had seen better days.
I gotcha.
And it was bordering on dangerous.
Yeah. I was a kid. My dad was like, "Hey, it's time. I'm gonna build you a fort." And I was like, "Dad, I'm like 17.
Yeah, I don't need a fort anymore."
Like we're past.
No, granted, when you were 17 years old, you were the size of like a 5-year-old.
Right, but still, like
you had a giant growth spurt after 17.
I did, but it was one of those things where I'm like, listen, I don't think I was 17, but I was close. I was up there. I was too old
for a fort.
You're
like, could you just get me my own apartment? That'd be great.
Like I was like, that's fantastic.
Like, help me put a deposit down on an apartment.
Yeah, my wedding's next week.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need a fort, Dad.
Little did you know.
Like, I appreciate it, but yeah, that's not gonna.
No,
that's not gonna fly.
I'm building. I actually hand drew, like
the
plans and blueprints for this thing.
Kids will be all about that, though.
And so yeah, I'm gonna film that a little bit.
Nice. That'd be cool.
See how it goes.
You were talking about.
Just know that if it turns out awful, you'll never see the video.
Yeah.
But if it turns out awesome, it'll be on my other channel.
It'll be a great video. Yeah. No, when you're talking about people building giant things, I've seen some. I keep on getting recommendations through Facebook and stuff for like people building stuff out of Legos.
Mm-hmm.
There's people that are building giant Legos with 3D printers and building giant versions of. Somebody built like a big Millennium Falcon.
That's amazing.
And I was like, why isn't this more of a thing? Like if I had a 3D printer, that's all I'd be doing is building giant Lego. There's people that did like the giant car, like a go-kart,
mm-hmm.
but it's out of big Legos.
Yeah.
and the working pieces. I'm like, that would be amazing. Really uncomfortable,
but pretty amazing. Awesome. Well, see, I in my past life, when I was a corporate stooge, before I woke up and realized that's for the birds, I traveled to our company's headquarters in Indiana, and they had giant Lego blocks. Whoa. Like all over the place. Like they had built, like one guy had built like a giant throne. Like it wasn't the Iron Throne from Game of Thrones, but it was a giant. It was similar. Just
I don't know what Game of Thrones is.
Yeah, but you know what the throne looks like. Shut your stupid mouth. Try and be don't go hipster on me right now. Don't you do it.
I had that
dude who's wearing a rad racing T-shirt.
Dude, listen, look, 5 people are gonna get it, and for those 5 people,
you are welcome.
Yeah. Thanks for being you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been in like a real crafty kind of mode lately, like where I'm just trying to make stuff.
I get you.
I'm in a creation mode.
Nice.
And so
I like it.
I made bookends out of old records.
I know, those are super
last
cool.
week, which was awesome.
You should have brought one.
They're in our other studio.
I know.
The other segment of our studio.
Yeah. After our meeting yesterday, our studio's
going to expand. Yeah, we have
growing.
We're gonna take it to the next level.
Yeah, pretty excited about things that are up and coming. But
build ourselves a little production palace over here. That's also for client meetings.
Yeah, and I think for everybody that's watched, they've probably seen some things, but we're going to enhance.
Yeah, we're just gonna make it. We're gonna make it easier for ourselves to film in different environments for different purposes.
Yeah,
it's gonna be awesome.
Super good.
Stay tuned.
So, yeah, but no, I'm gonna watch that Netflix.
I'm gonna finish that document. Yeah, it's like a 10-part docuseries.
Yeah. That's one of my goals for the
next week.
Just because I really, really want to watch it, but I can sit there and watch History Channel like all day,
right?
Especially if it's stuff that I'm like in, and none of my family cares at all.
You need to get woke.
You need to learn some lessons. Don't cross the mob. Guess
Yeah.
what? I learned that early on.
That's right.
You meet people that you're like, you know what? They might be part of the mob. I'm going to not do.
Don't take favors.
Yeah.
Don't borrow money.
I went car shopping one time. Guy comes out, little tiny car dealership here in Prescott, and he was something straight out of 80s New York.
Like he might have been Joe Pesci.
Yeah, like he was the boss.
Yeah,
like he was the owner, the boss. And comes out and tells the guy that's working with us, the car salesman, he's like, I swear to God, like, I'm not even making it up. He had like unbuttoned gold chains, the whole thing. And he's like, show him the van. And I look over at my wife, I was like, we got to get out of here.
We're not buying that van.
No. I don't know what's in it. Like, but I was like, oh my God, guess what? I don't know where that's been.
Yeah.
I don't know what side jobs that I'm doing.
Like, listen,
what
money laundering. I'll give you $10,000 off of that van, but before you go home, I need you to just stop over here.
Right.
And just leave the doors unlocked for like 5 minutes.
Right. Yeah.
You might see somebody try and get in the van. They'll leave.
Don't worry about it.
Then you can go home and enjoy your van.
Yeah. But it was sort of show him the van. I was like, oh, we don't want this.
We don't want this van.
We don't. Yeah. This is a real casino, only it's a car dealership in Prescott, Arizona. It's not a casino.
So I had the privilege of meeting a well-respected business owner here in town many, many years ago when he came into one of my cell phone stores needing some assistance. Mm-hmm. And I helped him out. And he was a really nice guy, but obviously had a past.
Right. You don't want to know.
Before his passing, he owned a very, very well-liked Italian restaurant here in town. It's only open a couple of days a week. and you have to bring your own wine.
Yeah.
So, without naming names,
you can piece some things. Yes.
People can probably put that together. But so he comes into my store and he's like, he's really having a hard time. So I help him out. We get him squared away, and he is so insanely appreciative. So he hands me a business. He takes a business card out of his pocket. He writes something on the back of it, and he says, "I want you and your wife to come to the restaurant."
Which is
and
such
give him this card when you get there.
That's
after
such
he
an
left,
awesome move. By the way.
So after he left, I flip over the card and it just says free meal. And so I was like, oh well, that's nice. And it was our anniversary was coming up, so we decided, hey, and I've always loved this restaurant, so I go in and we're gonna have our meal, and you walk in and there's pictures of this guy with like some of the worst of the worst.
Right.
Like
you're like
real gangsters.
Right.
And so,
they're up on the wall like celebrities.
Oh yeah. And he's in the pictures with them,
Right.
So, we have our meal and I had showed the waitress the card and I expected her to like take it like it was a coupon or something.
Right.
And she's like, no. You keep that.
Okay.
She's like, I've seen a few of these. When you come here, you don't pay. I'm like, but okay. And like from that day on, I was like almost nervous that the guy was going to walk back into the.
Like, hey, now you owe me.
He was going to walk back into my store with just like a nondescript manila envelope and be like, listen, I need you to just drop this off at this place at this time.
Yeah.
And I need you not to ask any questions.
Yeah. You seem like a good guy.
Yeah.
I need you to do me a favor.
I need you to do me one more favor.
Right. It's like,
did you enjoy the lasagna?
Meal? Yeah.
Great. I'm gonna need you to handle this for me.
Great.
So I'm like from that, and the guy did come back into the store several times just to have conversation. He was a really nice guy.
That you wanted to pick his brain, but then at the same time
I don't want to know.
You don't want to incriminate yourself.
And I don't want the ability to.
Right.
Listen.
We can have some conversations, but
the less I know, the less I can tell the guy from the FBI if he ever wants to know why you come and visit me.
Right. When he comes in right after you leave.
Right. Like why? What did he want to talk about?
Cell phones.
The Yankees?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like
the new iPhone.
Weather.
The new iPhone coming out. Big fan. Big fan.
But yeah, the Mafia has always fascinated me.
Yeah.
In that aspect. And
oh, it's a huge fascination of mine, and you just go, oh, okay, cool. Like you've been telling me that, I'm like, oh, then what? What kind of phone did he get? Did he get a burner phone? Did he get like no?
No, it was
just a.
I kid you not, he didn't. The model phone that he wanted, because this was right as smartphones were becoming pretty much the only phones you can get. I mean, you can still go and get a flip phone now, but there's like a model that you can get. And it was, if you recall, the original Motorola Razr. Wow. The problem is when he came in, the only color we had was purple.
And like
he was like,
okay,
purple's fine. I'm like, all right, cool.
That's awesome.
He's just like, I just want the phone.
Yeah.
And if all you have is purple, I will take the purple one.
Wow. Good for him.
I was like, all right, man.
Good for him. He wanted that phone.
He didn't want a smartphone.
Yeah.
Probably because, he didn't want the enhanced location services that a smartphone provides.
Right.
Respect.
Yeah. I was like, that wasn't me, but I held off. I was probably one of the last ones that just held it. I had a phone. Like, it didn't even have, texting, on it. It wasn't a smartphone. It was just, a regular phone. I held off way longer than I should have.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is my partner in a very technology-driven business.
Yeah. But it was just...
I know.
And I was, to, kind of go back to our game. Like, I judge people hard because I'm like, people are always off like texting and stuff like that. That's ridiculous.
Why can't they just pick up the phone and make a call?
Yeah, like I'd rather just call somebody instead of wasting that. And then it's like, hey, the way that the world progresses, like it just hit a point where it's like, you know, after the 18th person in the day is like, hey, I tried to text you. Yeah, I don't get text on my phone, or so, you know, and now you can't not get.
I mean, you can, but
I want a pager.
No, you don't.
I know.
No, you don't.
Go back to those.
There's
days.
no payphones.
There's still some. I don't know.
Find me one here in town.
All right.
Find me a payphone.
The game's
in
on.
Prescott, Arizona.
Find you a payphone?
Yeah.
Right, I'll find you one.
I'll take anywhere in the Quad Cities.
Okay. Hospital.
Doubt it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one.
Yeah.
Bet you it's not at the East Campus.
What, this one?
The one in PV.
Yeah. That's
really?
where I found it. Yeah.
Interesting.
I've got photo proof somewhere.
The last time I saw one,
we saw
a phone. We saw a phone booth. It was not a.
Oh, up in Crown King.
Up in Crown King.
Yeah.
But the last time I believe I encountered a working payphone.
Yeah.
Was almost 9 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a while. Anytime you find like a little like booth, there's no phone in it.
Yeah.
Right. The one that I was lucky enough to get a picture of me up in Crown King.
Yeah, it was not functional.
It was
no. The one I ran into was outside of a little taqueria in San Diego, California.
Okay.
And it was a month or so before my older son was born. He's turning 9.
Oh yeah.
In September. So
it's been a bit. Yeah.
Has it been 1 week?
Who was it the other day? Oh, or Bizarre Part came in and said something. Both you and I at the same time just broke into some bare naked ladies 1 week, and he's like, "Was it 1 month?" And we're like, "It was 1 week."
It was 1 week.
That was the name of the.
And he's in a '90s cover band. He should know better.
Seriously,
come on,
I'm like, come on. He didn't enjoy my Creed jokes. He was like, "Yeah, we get it."
Yeah, no one appreciated your Creed jokes. Sorry,
well, because he got a green screen. I don't know why I'm doing this so you can see, but no, I got a green screen. But
trying to block the microphone.
Yeah, you can't actually hear me.
It doesn't work very good.
No, but the backdrop that they did was very Creed.
It did. It looked like a late '90s bad alt rock music video.
Yeah,
in like the best possible way.
Right. Yeah, it was just like I didn't hate it, but it was they did requests, and so when I was at home talking to my wife, like, haha, and she's my little Jiminy Cricket. Sometimes it's like, hey, don't respond to that in the way that you want to.
Right.
Nobody's gonna get it. Nobody finds you as funny as you find you. Like, and I'm like, I find myself hilarious.
Well, it's
sometimes.
like, we both got kids. Right. Sometimes, a kid will do something and it'll get a reaction. And so they do it.
Right.
And then they do it bigger and they do it bigger and it becomes
right.
annoying.
Right. And
and so it's sometimes
funny.
you have to be like, hey, no one thinks it's cute anymore.
Right. It was funny the first time.
Yeah. And after now no one thinks you're cute anymore. So just
right. So that's been
find a new shtick, kid.
Yeah, that's normally the conversations of ha ha ha, that'll be really funny if I do this. No.
It won't.
It's just not.
I might think it's funny.
Well, I was gonna try and post something on my real estate page last night and was I'll show it. Even when I'm with you, I'll be like, hey, does this make sense?
Yeah.
Should I do this? And so I did that with my wife, and she's like, hey, it's funny, but it's not for your real estate page.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, that's not as funny. Like, I don't get it. Like, you get it, but I don't get
sometimes
it.
A joke can be a little too inside.
Right. And I'm like,
it just happens that way sometimes.
I'm like, you know who would laugh? The beard. I'll text you and then get no response. Just crickets.
You text me like 10 o'clock at night.
Because I'm up watching movies that we said that we were going to watch.
I know. So pay attention to the movie. Silence and darken your electronic devices. And
that was just my segue because we were talking about a movie, watching it for this weekend. Both of us watched it late last night. By the time I got to
some of it this morning.
Yeah, I got through it. I was surprised. We watched.
The great thing about having a waterproof phone is you can finish watching a movie in the shower if you need to.
Haven't done that.
I'm just saying.
That's a whole other segment.
I've got this little. I've got this case that I have.
Shower cinema.
Hey, I've got this case has one of those little pop sockets built in, and there's a rack that I keep my shampoo on, and it slides right perfectly.
Wow. I'm impressed by your commitment to.
I finished watching the movie basically in the shower this morning. So
fantastic. I watched mine. I started at like 10:30, and I didn't. I was like,
it's 2 hours long, man.
I was like, Beard's gonna be pissed because I'm gonna show up tomorrow, and he'd be like, "Did you watch it?" And be like, "Man, I made it. I made 10 minutes in and fell asleep." That's what I thought was gonna happen. Like I was already practicing my.
Well,
hey guys.
And we had this conversation before we left the office yesterday, and you're like, "Did you watch that movie yet?" And I'm like, "No." He's like, "Well, we're gonna talk about it tomorrow, right?" And I'm like, "Are we?"
Yeah.
And
listen, neither
so
one of
you
us
leaned into it. So I was like, "All right, I will figure out a way to watch it between."
Well, I left it very open. I left it very open ended. Talking to you, just be like, "Hey, we didn't do that because we were gonna try and do the party thing." And
yeah, it's been a busy. It's getting difficult to fit that in at times that people will actually want to join in with this.
Yeah, and for us, at least, we get going with so many other different things that I blink and all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey we're recording tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Well, I guess we can't really throw it out to people to watch a movie
who wants
with
to
us
tune in to this movie at midnight tonight when I finally have time to do it.
Right. So it's like, all right, let's just, because I've been wanting to watch it, but it's the old guard.
Yeah.
Netflix, streaming on Netflix.
And it was pretty darn good.
I was very impressed. But again, I thought I was going to start, because it's been getting, I'm not going to say mixed reviews, but some people are all about it. Some people are like, whatever. It's a rip-off of other movies, and maybe a little bit.
Well, it's like, what if the Highlander met the Avengers?
Or what if John Wick
met the Highlander?
Became a Highlander.
And had a crew.
Of other Highlander John Wicks. Also,
the only movie series that has ever brought more people back from the dead is The Fast and the Furious.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Because wait a minute. We're just making stuff up now.
Yeah.
What do you mean he has a brother?
That looks just like him.
But you can't see him. Yeah. Now I'm stuck in all the people that have come back from the dead from Fast and Furious.
All right, so it's got a Rotten Tomatoes has a critic score of 81% and an audience score of 71%.
Really? All right.
So it's doing okay.
Yeah.
It's doing okay.
It is. Yeah.
I thought Charlize Theron was.
I was gonna say, but
she did well. I enjoyed her. She's one of those that's kind of hit or miss for me.
I was gonna completely say the same thing. It just depends on the movie. Where I'm like, okay, you know what? Like, I didn't mind her in that, and then other ones I'm like, okay.
I could never have seen that and be just as happy.
Like Fate of the Furious.
Right.
Just randomly throwing her in there. We're just gonna talk about nothing but Fast and Furious.
Because that's what we do.
No, but just something she's in, and you're like, okay, whatever. She in more recent years, I think she's got into more action thing with Mad Max Fury Road,
which apparently she was replaced in the next one.
But I think I've read that it's going to be a prequel.
Okay. Well, maybe that's
a little bit more sense.
That makes more sense as to why they replaced her with a younger version of her.
But
she's big mad about that.
Yeah, she's very furiosa. Come on, you set me up for that one. She is on a fury road about it. No, I've heard that she was problematic and possibly Tom Hardy. They didn't get along on set. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I did hear it was a prequel about that character. But she has.
But she's. Replaced. I mean, here's the thing. She's got range.
Yeah.
Like, she is a good actress.
Right.
I thought she was great in Fury Road.
Yeah.
I also thought she was great in Monster.
Yeah, really great. You know,
And
or
I mean,
Italian Job.
and she's almost unrecognizable in Monster.
Right. And listen, I'm gonna put something on the table here.
Okay.
She's the better actress she's a better version of Cameron Diaz.
She's a Cameron Diaz that can actually
time.
act.
Right. They came out at relatively similar times.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, we're gonna she's in actual artistic movies and carries it off, I guess.
Yeah. So it was funny because
Diaz under the bus for no reason.
My wife and I were actually having a similar conversation last night before bed, and we were talking about how she's mad that she was replaced with and if it's a prequel, then it makes sense, right. But she was replaced with a younger actress.
That's what the word on the road
for
is.
the on the Fury Road.
Yes.
So, and it's like, I can understand that.
Right.
That's Hollywood.
Right.
It's an love it or hate it, it's an unfortunate reality in the entertainment business.
Right.
But then we got onto the conversation of sometimes, somehow in that conversation, the new Charlie's Angels came up, and the reason this came into my head is because you mentioned Cameron Diaz.
I'm tracking.
I'm just providing the 6 degrees of separation for our listeners, and we're like, how in that?
Oh, I knew exactly how you got there.
Yeah. We were talking about the 2000 Charlie's Angels and how it was so much better received than the 2019
version
Charlie's Angels.
Right.
And people were, Elizabeth Banks claimed that it was sexism is why nobody wanted to see it. And I disagree. I think it was just bad.
Right.
Because when the Angels were Cameron Diaz, Drew Barrymore, and Lucy Liu,
right,
it was a hit.
Right. It was a huge hit, and it was more the times.
Maybe. Just maybe. Kristen Stewart is not the person you want to helm
a Charlie's Angels
movie.
I mean, I think that I'm nothing against her as an actress and whatever, but she's kind of a dud.
Yeah.
Where during interviews and stuff like that, you needed more Drew Barrymores that are upbeat,
and
bubbly,
Cameron Diaz. I mean, Cameron Diaz was
funny.
She is a passable actress.
Yeah.
And she was great in she did a movie with Tom Cruise.
Night and Day.
Vanilla Sky.
Oh, Vanilla Sky. I was like, she did
that movie was like, it was scary in in the weird way, not like blood and guts type of scary, but it was just frightening.
I somehow came
and
with
so
a copy
again,
of
she
that
has
movie.
that range where it's Vanilla Sky,
right,
and there's something about Mary
or The Mask.
Yeah,
her breakout role in The Mask.
Yeah,
I had seen a thing the other day,
but nobody and then obviously Drew Barrymore, Lucy Liu. I don't know what. I never really followed her career. I don't know what she did afterward. I'm sure she's still acting, but
she's still doing things. Yes.
But I mean, Drew Barrymore is a national treasure.
Yeah, and it was they got a good
possibly
mixture.
One of my bigger celebrity crushes through my entire life.
Okay, I'm with you on that one. I don't disagree with you. Yeah,
there was DJ Tanner. There was Topanga, and then there was Drew Barrymore.
Yes.
That was it.
No, I'm with you. I think that they found the right combination as far as that movie. I don't know if it was the right time for a Charlie's Angels reboot movie right now, depending on who you talk to.
Obviously, it wasn't. Not with the people that were attached to the picture.
Yeah, I think that it was And
Elizabeth Banks can make some good movies, but listen, movies live and die on their writers and directors.
Yeah, and it just wasn't.
And guess who wrote and directed the 2019 Charlie's Angels movie?
The person who's also angry that it didn't
do very well.
Yeah,
and you gotta take some personal responsibility, kids.
Yeah. But going
back to the old guard.
Yes. I was like, where did we start on this?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was very, very impressed. I thought I was going to be kind of bored and fall asleep and have the conversation of, hey, I didn't actually watch the movie, but I got in.
No, it was
I committed.
Really
I watched
quite
the whole
good.
thing. Really
when
good
I saw the
story.
premise, I thought it was going to be a little more like fantasy type driven, and it wasn't.
No, I liked the fact that they just like, hey, we don't know.
Yeah,
like we don't know why.
We just know that when we get shot in the head, we wake up a minute or two later,
right?
And
they're
it hurts,
immortal.
But, yeah.
To an extent, there's a limit to their immortality. They just don't know.
Unlike Bradley Cooper, they are not limitless.
They are not limitless. He's taking pills, man. No, but they don't know when is going to be that time where they're not going to come back.
Yeah.
And it's not like a Highlander situation. Well, if my head gets cut off, no, they.
Yeah, it's not about that.
They come back. I don't know how. I wish they would have done that at some point. There were some gruesome deaths.
Oh man!
But I now have a fear.
So the gruesome rebirths, some of them.
Yeah, but it also addressed the fact of like, if you're immortal, what would your biggest fear be?
And it is very much addressed.
And it is being captured.
Yeah.
Like, that would suck.
Yeah, at least somebody who, a criminal who is arrested and given life without the possibility of parole.
Yeah. They have an end to their life.
They still know that at least the one thing I have to look forward to is dying someday.
Yeah. They don't have that thing.
Well, that got dark.
Yeah, you did. That's why I was like trying to come back up. I was trying to be the Drew Barrymore to your Kristen Stewart.
Had to do it. Had to go dark there.
No, but it was one of the, and then addressed a fear that I didn't like. It was like, hey, you weren't afraid of this before, but I'm gonna go ahead and give you this fear.
I'm gonna give you a new nightmare.
And it was one of those things where I'm like, I'm going to have some nightmares about that. I didn't, surprisingly. But it was one of those things where I'm like, all right. I was afraid of this, and I was afraid of this. And they go,
yeah, put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's put these two things together. And I'm like, well, dang. Like,
no, I'm really afraid.
Yeah, I was like,
of that thing that I didn't even consider.
Right,
And it's definitely not a possibility, but...
Right. Don't want to spoil it, but it's just one of
you know what? It's where it's a possibility?
Yeah.
In your nightmares.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I'm like, I don't want to ruin it, even though it's Netflix and
it's been out for a couple weeks.
But it's still one of those moments where you go, oh.
Yeah, I'm like,
okay. That's not fun.
Hard pass.
Hard pass. But yeah, no, 2 thumbs up. I was way impressed.
I was about it. There's some obvious sequel bait there, and I really hope they get to make one.
They came out hard, and I think I was telling you beforehand, like I thought that they just didn't address one of these major story, and then they came back, and it's
kind of a
hey.
Well, and that's
remember this person
in some ways how I drew that parallel to like if the Highlander met the Avengers.
Yeah, and
because they dropped there's some sequel bait before the credits roll.
Yeah.
And then you get a mid-credit thing where it's like,
oh,
dun dun dun.
But I think before we stop talking about this and wrap this up, we talked about this right beforehand. But a character shows up, an actor shows up in this movie, and both you and I, we both did the same thing, going, "Who is this guy?" Like I know him, and I don't like him.
Immediately, you don't like him. You just see his face, and you're just like, and I don't like your face.
And I was like, who is this guy? And do we want to say or let people figure it out for themselves?
Oh, I don't think it's that big of a deal to mention who this actor is.
But it's just kind of a crazy reaction for actors' roles that they have. That
the gentleman's name is Harry Melling,
who is better known
as Dudley Dursley
from the Harry Potter series.
And Dudley
is like the worst.
Literally half the man he used to be.
Like it's this skinny dude walks in,
yeah,
like, and it was his face.
But his face, you're like, oh, that's son of.
And then he talks, and like, it's like he's given this nice little thing, and I'm like, that's the bad guy.
Yeah,
I don't like him. He's like the worst.
Immediately when he comes he comes into frame, and you're just like, oh, this guy's a piece of crap already. And he doesn't even have to open his mouth, and you're just like, I don't like him.
Yeah, don't like him. He could be like the hero of the movie, but guess what? He ended up being. He was a very
he was part of the problem.
But kind of going, hey, as an actor, some actors you get, typecasted,
right?
And like, I just don't think he could ever show up and be the good guy. Like, he's doubly.
It's the same. It's really the same thing with the guy who played.
Harry Potter.
His name is Tom. I can't remember his last name right now.
Yeah. I almost said Hiddleston. It's not Tom Hiddleston.
It's not
Tom Riddle. No.
Nope.
It's Tom.
Tom Riddle is Voldemort's name. And of course, it's not on the. He's not on the front page of the IMDb.
Yeah.
Booking for it.
What's his face?
Tom Felton.
Yes.
Who played Draco Malfoy. He's always going to be kind of the heavy. He's always going to be kind of the bad guy.
Yeah.
Hey, Tucker, our
I know.
11 o'clock is here.
Like, it is literally... yeah.
And, hey, he's on time, so...
Good for him.
Let's wrap this up.
Okay.
Because we have to.
Yeah.
We have an 11 o'clock appointment, and it's 11 o'clock, so... That's it for us. Thanks, guys, for tuning in to the show. And, like, comment, subscribe, do all those things. Until next time, he's Tucker.
He's Beard.
And we're out.